Okay, I made a miscalculation in my laying out of where I wanted the foundations. Everything is in the right position, but I wanted everything actually this way, one foundation more. So I'm going to get rid of these 4 down here and move them down to the other end. It just makes for the whole symmetrical placement of the setup to be aligned better, and this really helps with copying and pasting. We can move it all as well if you wanted to in the calculator, which is not something I'm really worried about. We'll be right. This is perfectly what I need. Nothing changed with all of this. These are all now configured with the overclocking and the underclocking. So the next step is the compact coal assemblers, and they're going to be built above the water extractors. So we need to get up higher. How do I do that? You can just quickly do a little bit of this. You'll get to a certain height. You see not allowed, and then that's allowed. So that's going to be the height. And let's have a look here. So I don't need this. Well, for the tutorial, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 4-meter foundations up, and then off from that is where the 2 meters go. Okay, so this floor up here, the floor aligns with this, and it's 4 by 20 again. So I'll come back to this in a minute. Also, getting up and down, I'm going to put a door here, and this will help for moving around later. And we're going to start off with putting a, I'm going to grab my walls, I'm going to put a center door here, and I'm going to put a normal wall underneath it. And then I'm going to put my ladder just there. You could use hypertubes and everything. They cost power. I just want to stick with this. By doing this now, because we're going to be up here soon, I can actually easily walk around and place the remaining foundations. So I'll do that now, and then we'll come back in a second once we've got a 20 by 4 setup. Okay, folks. So I've created the 20 by 4 foundations above the water extractors here, and I've also gone ahead and created the room where everything's going to be housed, and I've left some gaps. So we have the foundation. I have this bottom apron around because aesthetically it looks nice instead of having the exposed base of the foundation. I also have some nice glass running in the middle. Once again, it's all about the aesthetics, but I've left this row out, and the reason I've left this row out is because guess what? You're not going to believe it. Magically, this lines up to here. So what happens is if I put a conveyor wall here, now that will go roughly there. Perfect. I'm actually going to not connect them yet. I'm going to leave that for later because it gets annoying walking around the bottom. But I do need to make the walls, and they will be every second one. The way I've laid out the generators makes for this nice clean setup. And then so you can imagine with this spacing that we've got up here, this allows for the 9 assemblers that are going to be making the compacted coal. Coincidence or planned? Now I do like this setup. It's because of the width of the water extractors, it forces you to space things out a bit. But it actually has its rewards up here with this part of the build. So if I just stand here with my assembler, turn it around, output as close as I can go. There we go. Now I only need Mark 1 belts because the product is coming out at 14.5 per minute. So I'm just going to go through and place each one of them. Okay, I'm going to select the recipe and define the overclock in one go, or the underclock, sorry. And compact coal is down the bottom, so you can minimize to minerals. So it's at a nice, easy to get to location. So I compact coal, 58%, done. I will continue doing this here and we'll come back shortly with the next step. So the machines have all now been configured with compact coal set to 58%. I'm going through now, hooking up the belts, and the reason why I didn't hook up the conveyor lifts yet is when I was running the conveyor lifts up, I couldn't hear that little click. So now that there's a belt here that sets the direction, when I'm down below and hooking up the belt, I'll hear that little click. Now the next part is running the conveyor belts for the sulfur and the coal. Now this is where you could run manifold all along here, perfectly fine, totally up to you. Guess what? I'm not. I'm going to do load balancing, and load balancing, I like it because 3 and 3 and 3. So a splitter splits into 3, so one splitter can serve 3 assemblers. There's 9 in total, so that's 3 sets of 3, and the middle one will split to serve the other 3 splitters. Now the best way I like to line, and I like to use conveyor lifts to do this, a lot of this is design aesthetics, it's not necessary, but I start off with a conveyor lift there, which helps me define the position of the lift here. So now I know the input's coming in. I'm obviously on the middle of the 3 here. And this isn't connected, by the way. You have to replace this. So I'm just going to delete it. And the next one, I know I want to do the next height up. It's 5. So 5. And I can get rid of the excess splitters. So now, you hear that click? Perfect. And I just maintain the exact setup. These are 8 high, these other ones. And then conveyor belts to the middle. And it's as simple as that. So I now have completely set up 3 load balanced. I'm going to repeat the process. It's easier now because when I come down to this one here, you notice that the line appears. So I can go, and then that line appears. So you can see it's been easy to get that one. So this is the middle one. So once again, 3 and 5. And then this is where the other ones are going to come in. Oops, did I do that right? No, I didn't. This one here. This is the ones that will split to everything else. So... and they also need to have the input there. You can get rid of these. Now each, so I'm just going to keep doing this. We'll deal with these connections in a minute. So I'll come back when I've hooked up, when all of these sets of 3 are up and configured. So 14.5 is what each one generates. There's 3 per group. So that's 43 required per group. Guess what? I can join. So this is the incoming 130 coal and 130 sulfur. It doesn't matter which one's which. It gets split each way by like 45-ish or whatever that number was. So I can put a Mark 1 conveyor belt here. Mark 1 conveyor belt goes to here. That goes to here. That goes to here. And we're done. And now we need to hook up the remaining part is to bring in the sulfur and coal. What we're going to do is put at different spots. I'm going to put one here, and I'm going to put one here, and I'm going to put a single wall hole. And I could put doubles. It's totally up to you. We all have different ways of doing things. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to put this here like that. And now I have that there. This one will go, I think, here. I like these conveyor wall supports. I think I've actually got to put it there and there. What do you mean you think? You're supposed to know these things off by heart. Even after building for so long, I forget where things go. I'll come back after I get some more plate and we'll continue on. Okay, I got a bit excited earlier. This all needs to be a Mark 3 conveyor belt because this is the incoming. Because it's bringing in 130. So Mark 2 won't cut it. And you could use Mark 3 or Mark 4 or Mark 5 or anywhere, everywhere. It's up to you. I like the speed, the look of the speed of the belts as stuff comes in, you know? It's slow, it's gradual. It doesn't... A Mark 5 and a Mark 1 is irrelevant when stuff needs to come in at 14.5 per minute for a machine. You know, there's no... it's going to give you no advantage whatsoever. And my problem started because when I built this, I went like that, and that set the direction going outside. So what I really needed to do was do the direction like this, and then set mine down. Now, you're probably asking, why didn't you put the window wall, the single conveyor hole wall, on that lower level? You know, why didn't you take this out and put that there? Well, I'd lose that aesthetic look. And I'd lose the aesthetic look of those like that there. So, now I've got the incoming... This upstairs is all configured for the incoming resources. The only thing required upstairs now is power, so I'll do that. And once again, aesthetically, I'm going to use... I'm going to use the wall connectors to the roof. And because everything's placed in the same spot, I know that each one goes here, so I can actually build this rather quickly because everything's organized and laid out. So I'll do all this and we'll come back shortly.